Welcome back, everyone, to the Complete Pineleaf. I am here with Gandalf in his room at Scarhold to report on what happened at the Anvil.
I think the dwarves are wrong. I believe Karazgar still lives.
It may have been merely good fortune that caused the Herald of Winter to seal herself once more into the glacier, Pineleaf, but I see another power at work. At any rate, the dwarves of Eris Mithrin have proven fortunate for once. They need not worry about Hremo Frostheart on this day, although a day may come when they must. As in a certain latest release that we have. But I do not believe that Karazgar was truly slain. It may be that the Herald of Winter has given the Weeping Warrior his fill of battle, for now, but I have heard whispers from the dwarves of this place that a trail of blood and rust led away from Hremo's chamber. I am certain that Karazgar lives. But let us turn to the matter that brought me hither, Pineleaf. I wish to speak with you concerning the Black Book of Mordor. Ooh, what happened in the Black Book?
I have spent much of this time studying the Black Book, seeking to learn its secrets.
But I am no nearer to learning how the book came to be hidden in the secret chamber located in Keel's home in Yardfast. But that is not to say that my study has been fruitless. No, there is much to be learned from this tome, and I have made some progress already. Listen well to my words, and I will share some of the knowledge it has imparted to me. All right? And what is this knowledge?
Listen well to my words.
Much that is in these pages remains unknown to me, but if you listen well to my words, you will hear what I have learned. All right, let's learn what you have learned then.
Allow my words to paint a picture for you, my friend. A picture from long ago.
So we're painting a picture here. Much of the writing within the Black Book of Mordor remains a mystery to me, Pineleaf, but I know enough of ancient Dwarvish to make a beginning. The tome was written by a dwarf called Voin, the thrice great-grandfather of Heel Tailspinner. Like Heel himself, Voin was one of the Gelruka. He kept a home in Yarnfast more than 1,000 years ago, but the black book you found within its hidden chamber there is all that remains of his life. Voin himself appears in no other record than I have found. The writing of dwarves, or at least that of the Longbeards I have known, is generally straightforward and to the point. Not so that of the Gelruka. Indeed, while I have not had occasion to study many works of the dwarves of the East, Voin's writing in the Black Book seems more convoluted than others of his kind. He writes in multiple languages, using many different runic alphabets. Furthermore, some of these scrawlings are clearly written using a cipher, or I am not a wizard. There are curious gaps between some of these lines and on some of these pages. Keel's cryptic ancestor may have written some of this account with hidden letters, but unless we learn their trick, they will remain invisible to us. That's a pity, but I warrant the visible writing will keep us busy enough. He writes often of the lost city of the Far Gothal. It seems to have been a preoccupation of his. The Far Gothal. Isn't that a preoccupation of a good number of Zelruka? These are the halls of memory, Pineleaf. I would name them Tamas Rened. To a dwarf such as Voin, they would be Zoldum or... But are not physical halls. The halls of memory are given shape by the words of Voin. The columns rise from his dream as a dwarf. The walls are from the bounds of his experience. But there are gaps in my knowledge. The halls of memory remain incomplete. Walls of fog, dense mist, these hinder our pursuit of knowledge. Only the words of Voin can banish these impediments. I waited for as long as I could. In the end, it was not so very long at all. It was a cold land, a hard land. Evil dwelt there. The fog dissipates, revealing further avenues of knowledge. Proceed, Pineleaf. Proceed into this new avenue. Gandalf flips through the tome, seeking the right pages. Of course he does. I guess I turn right. Oh, and the mini map is of a book. I guess that's appropriate. It was to Mordor that Voin adventured. But when he did he go, and why did he go, and when? Yes, that's a good question. Well, obviously around 1,000 years ago. Voin writes of Mordor in many different pages of his tome, but I cannot tell if he speaks of one journey or of several. The writing on these pages is confused, and many of the details are obscured. I can't say when he adventured there or for what purpose. I believe when he reached the end of the book, he continued to write on the overleaf pages, seemingly at random. This makes a true accounting of the chronology difficult. And yet, there are some conclusions to be made. The black-bound tomes bear the mark of Sauron, and that is not a symbol commonly found beyond the borders of this land. Yeah, it's unlikely that they would be found there. Voin went to Mordor, and when he emerged from that land, he brought with him the Black Book. I cannot say for certain if he filled his pages while still in Mordor, or after he left that place. Much else remains hidden from me. Some event is here described, but Voin has obscured the identity of those involved. Can you make sense of it, Pineleaf? Alright, let's see. Uncertain events. Alright. I had no choice. Anyone would see that. I have not made any further progress in this direction, Pineleaf. Not yet, anyway. Okay, what about these people? Go back to the entrance of these halls. There is another avenue to pursue. Alright, fine. So what is this second avenue? Spare me this look of disappointment, Pineleaf. I have not yet been idle, and while that course of study has come to an early end, there is another avenue upon which I had some success. I told you that Voin filled the Black Book with much talk of the Far-Gothal. Indeed, it seems to have been an obsession of his. The reading was slow, and for a time I paid it little mind, for I could not see how it might relate to the rest of the writings. But I am a wizard. I am Gandalf. I was seized by the sudden inspiration and knew there must be some element that I missed, a kernel of useful information buried within the constant talk of the Far-Gothal. And so there was. Yeah? Voin's desire to find the Far-Gothal is not unusual of his kind. Yeah, I got that impression. But in this, he was unusual. He speaks of seeking the Far-Gothal in the company of a long-bearded king. Alright, I suppose that's unusual. I do not know if Thrain is serious about this expedition. It matters not, so long as he supplies us with food and equipment. The Far-Gothal awaits! I can feel it! The far Gathal. Onward, Pineleaf. There is more to learn. More to learn. More to see. And into another part of the book. Gandalf mutters to himself as he searches for the right page. Yeah, right. You like searching for right pages, I guess. As I go both left and right. Let's see what we've got here. Void adventures in the Grey Mountains in search of the Far Gothal. We have more memories, and there. Why did King Thrain agree to lead an expedition in search of the Far Gothal? His father, Nain, has been slain in Moria, along with many of his people, and the survivors gathered in the Grey Mountains. They dwelled for a time in the Steel Keep and reopened several of the mines, but it was not enough. If he could make use of the Jaruka to find a more suitable home with the wealth of a rivaled Las Khazad-dûm, he would do so. Well, I suppose so. King Thrain desired to find the Far Gothal could not match that of the Jaruka with whom he allied. He gave up the search after only a few years, and instead founded Erebor beneath the lonely mountain. But Voin remained, and his account has much to say about his fruitless search. I say fruitless, but it was not truly so. Can you make sense of what he encountered? Oh, more memories that are hard to discern? Well, let's see. Ho, stranger! Who goes there? And for what purpose? I am called Moggldeer. My boon companions and I mean you no harm. You are an elf. Yes, that is true. The mountains are no place for an elf. I think that is less true, Master Dwarf. We go where evil lurks and oppose it. Do you know evil when you see it, then? Thus far, as well as any. There is evil in Gundabad, they say. It makes my own search difficult. It may be that we could find a common purpose, Master Dwarf. Judging by how often Moggldeer appears named in the Black Book, Voin had made a fast friend. Their adventures brought them up and down the Grey Mountains, and as far as Gundabad. All right, but who is this elf? Does he appear anywhere but within the pages of the Black Book? He does. Ooh. Well then, where else does he appear? Gandalf looks at the Black Book and strokes his beard. Oh, I thought he was going to be searching for the right page. There you go. He's pondering then. Outside of Voin's book, the name Moggldeer appears only once. Alright. Almost 2,000 years before this encounter with Voin and Aerith Mithrin, an elf named Moggldeer served beneath High King Gil-galad during the siege of Barad-dûr. His name appears in a list of elves who maintained the fortifications of an encampment in Mordor called Echad-ed-Ithil, but that is all. If he performed any heroic deeds on behalf of the Last Alliance, they are not recorded. Indeed, if it were not for the frequent mentions of his name in the Black Book, I should think that he perished during the siege. Well, I'm sure many elves did. But survived he did, for 2,000 years later he encountered Voin. My study of the Black Book of Mordor has only raised further questions. Ooh? That is all that I've learned so far. It will take some days to learn more, but I'm confident Voin and Moggledeer will not keep their secrets from me for long. We can only hope so. So the Pineleaf version of this is that Voin went exploring, he encountered an elf, and they went exploring together.
It is clear that Keel's thrice great-grandfather Voin has much yet to tell us.
If we can somehow solve the mystery that he left behind.
But I see we have a visitor.
Well, what do you want, newcomer? You have a message for Pineleaf? Then deliver it. Are you not aware that a wizard's time is valuable? Gandalf. Hello.
I did not mean to cause offense.
Everyone knows wizards are quick to anger, but I did not expect the wick to catch so quickly. I have a message for you, Pineleaf, from a mutual friend. He asked me to send you to him on the road to the Glimmerdeep with as much haste as you can imagine. As fast as the wind, he said to me. Well now, I have delivered the message, and I will take my leave. And more importantly, I will leave the wizard to his books, and in peace. As swift as the wind. I can guess who that is. One who is as fast as the wind, I would think. As I thought, Vutro the West Wind. Hello. What's that?
I was told Karsgar was slain, but I did not believe it. I do not.
I did not follow Horin to the Anvil, Pineleaf, as you and Durin requested. And when the expedition returned with word that Karazgar had been slain by the Herald of Winter, my friends told me that I was avenged. But I knew it was not so, and apparently Gandalf agrees with you. I knew in my bones that Karazgar still lived, but none of the scouts had seen any sign of him since the expedition returned. We know he's a master of stealth. Did he not prove his ability to move silently when he first ambushed me, cutting my leg with his cruel blade and robbing me of my fleetness? It is not wish to be If he does not wish to be found, even the most alert of our scouts will not find him. I stood nearby to listen as Horin gave his report to Enoch, who succeeded Botu's Frostblood as the leader of my people here in Scarhold, and I think they missed something important. Karazgar had control over much of the Frost Horde, yes. Did he not use the drakes and worms to attack us here? But that power derived from his mastery over Vetug Wintermine. According to Corin's account, Karazgar began to lose control over Vitug as the battle turned against him. And when Vitug perished, the Drake died cursing his former master. What if Karazgar control over the Frost Horde perished with Vitug, Pineleaf? Instead of scouting from his high for Karazgar, I instead watched the strange behavior on the part of the frost drakes in the mountains. And behold, I saw many of the creatures moving with single-minded purpose. Not on behalf of Karazgar, no. I think they're seeking for him, wounded as he is, for the same purpose as I. I think the drakes seek him for vengeance, Pineleaf. If we follow their tracks, they may lead us right to Karazgar. Are you saying for once we have the same purpose as the drakes do? Now that's frightening. I saw them south of here. Hurry there, and I will follow behind and catch up as I can. Ooh, all right. I suppose we can do that. I suppose we could head up, find out along the south that at some point those frost drakes are up to Karazgar, that we could find Karazgar and be able to defeat him and deal with him. Maybe even learn something about the Black Book of Mordor, though I don't know how. Whatever it is, we have to find that out in the next episode of The Complete Pineleaf.